we responded. First and foremost, the resolutions from the Land Conference were to be implemented over different time frames because they were different. Some of the recommendations spoke to things that we have already commenced addressing. Others spoke to things that we had to start activities on. But what is important is that the implementation period is different. It's not the same. Now, some of these recommendations have been fully executed, meaning all activities related to giving effect to that resolutions have been carried out. Others are still under implementation. Now, when something is still under implementation, it doesn't mean that we are behind schedule. It doesn't mean that we have failed to do what we are supposed to do. It only means that it does not take one action, or it does not take 1 year to fully implement all the activities. And they are on course as per the schedule of activities that has been agreed upon. Now, with regards to the ancestral land claims report, in fact, we have noted that the very day that we received that report from State House is the same day that this report was released to the public and distributed to the stakeholders. And as was said, that report has been on the agenda of the high-level committee since that day. And yes, indeed, there is a document that unpacks the issues and indicate when each activity is supposed to be concluded. And the time frame for the implementation of these activities are also different. So, but it was agreed amongst other activities that that workshop be undertaken. The fact that the workshop was undertaken in October doesn't mean that nothing else has happened under that report. But there would also be other activities that are still to be implemented, like a bill that is to be finalized and tabled in Parliament, and a body that is to be established under that bill to hear the actual claims. But there were other recommendations under that report that are already being considered and have been discussed by the high-level committee.
Okay, but when government says that there are legal impediments to the implementation of some of the recommendations, for example, the abolishment of the willing buyer, willing seller, or the removal of the red line, what does government really mean? And what is being done to ensure that we get around these legal impediments and we get to fully implement the resolutions?
First and foremost, there is no legal impediments to the removal of the cordon fence. There are other challenges, and those challenges are being dealt with. We were, for example, looking at how we can ensure that the movement of cattle across the borders between us and Angola is regulated, because it wouldn't not help us to remove the cordon fence if the animals on that side could go the other side, even if you have vaccinated them, and they could pick up diseases there. So we are doing something to ensure that in a phased manner we are able to restrict the movement of animals across the borders, in order that we are able to then remove the red line here. But in addition to that, we are also looking for alternative markets for the livestock and livestock products in that area. And as has been indicated, a number of potentially lucrative markets have been found. And what remains really is for us to ensure that there are slaughter-ready animals in that area that we can export, and that we can slaughter to export products to these markets that we have identified. Now, with regards to willing buyer, willing seller, we have indicated that the concern has been that the process to acquire farms has not been aligned to the demand for farms, for resettlement. And this was not only on account of there being willing buyer, willing seller, it was also because there were not enough resources to buy up the farms that became available. And that is why when you look at our records, there were more farms offered than what was bought. And we are saying that if there is a farm that we need to buy that is not on offer, whether or not willing buyer and willing seller is under the law, we can still expropriate that farm in terms of the Constitution. So I think the assumption really that informed that resolution was to say you cannot buy what is not on offer, but we can buy that.